Unfiltered by two.
Hi, Jay. Welcome back to Unfiltered by 2 on our new episode today. We're going to be talking about something I feel like it's going to be so close to both of us, knowing that we are just about to head into the adult working life. We're about to graduate soon and finish our internship and all that. So the reality is like slowly creeping up on us, like I'm coming, the adulthood is coming. So we are gonna be talking about fresh graduate, job market, and just being Gen Z. Let's think about this, right? For me, my own opinion is one, Gen Z is struggling so much because not just the fact that our first few years of uni where we actually need to like establish ourselves were robbed by COVID,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we got onto uni. It was very hard for us, like network and all that, but it was not impossible. And we did push through and all that. And then now, let's say we are becoming fresh graduates or just finishing up internship, we are trying to look for jobs. And the fact, the truth, the reality here is the job market feels like a boss level that nobody trained us for. Like nobody really trained us with like one thing that I till today do not understand in the job market is this job is entry level job. And then you look at the job requirements, must have 1 to 3 years of experience in this job field. I'm like,
Hmm.
if it's entry level, it's literally called entry level,
Yeah.
but you expect someone to have 1 to 3 years of experience.
Yeah.
Make it make sense, right? It's like technically right after you finish uni, you need to have 1 to 3 years of experience. You need to master like 17 software tools. You need to have the magical ability to work under pressure, all for salary that you barely can keep up with today's cost of living. I feel like honestly, Gen Z is not lazy or unmotivated. We are just entering a workforce that is a little bit broken.
Yep.
Why I say it's broken is because like millennials, yeah, I'm not saying like you guys are bad, like millennials, Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen X, boomers or whatsoever. But you guys have survived this broken workforce that you expect other people to do as well. I'm not saying all. I am seeing some changes, but it's so broken to me that you expect an entry level job person to have 1 to 3 years of experience. It just doesn't make sense to me. So what do you think?
I think that whoever brings this up at the first place is not making any sense. Because how do you expect a fresh graduate to have 1 to 3 years of experience? You mean like we have to focus on our studies while we have to work a full-time job? Seriously? You are not expecting that, of course, because like if we study full time, okay, there are people who study full time and work part time jobs and they still excel. I mean, it's not impossible to do so, but the people who could do that and who has to do that is the minority. And I am sincerely proud of them because of their achievements, but that still doesn't make any sense though. I mean, like,
Yeah.
just like objectively speaking, you don't expect a fresh graduate to come to you and tell you that, hey, I have 3 years of experience in whatever field, like maybe video editing. Okay, video editing is easier like compared to any professional level stuff because like we can do freelance job and stuff, right? So you don't expect every inspiring video maker to come out to you and say that I have graduated from my degree and I have 3 years of experience. It's not that fresh graduates should not keep up to the standard to have good skill kits, to have good skills, or so on and so forth. Now, of course, it is good that if they have more and more experience, more and more skills, but it should not be a standard to those job makers. I mean, like those, we all know that this society is a pyramid, right? So it also
Yeah.
makes sense that those very good people are on the tip. And then what about
Mm.
the others? They deserve chances as well.
Yeah,
As long as
that
they're
is
not lazy.
true. I
and-
feel like,
yeah. As long as,
as long as they're not lazy.
yeah, and as long as they are responsible, and that's it, right?
Very, very true. I'm like, yes, Jay, tell them.
Right, as long as
It's
they,
so true because, like,
yeah, as long as they put effort and are responsible to what they're
Mhm.
doing, and they deserve a chance to work towards what they wanted. They should not be discriminated because they are not that better, like not that good
yeah, and
compared to those on the top.
and all I want to say is, like, how do you expect someone to have those experience if you're not willing to give them experience? Every job offers just 1 to 3 years of experience, and
Yep.
nobody's really giving anyone experience,
Yep.
right? Like, yeah, I might work when I'm in uni, but again, that comes from a privilege or not so privileged person talking, because, like, some people work to survive, some people work because they have the time to work.
Yep.
Some people have no other commitment,
Yep.
no other issues in their life that they can work and study at the same time, right? But even that, you're not gonna have, like, let's say you study in film and broadcasting. Definitely it's gonna be hard for you to get a job in film and broadcasting industry.
Mm-hmm.
But you do part-time jobs, F&B, or you do part-time jobs as a photographer. Most of the time, like, yes, you have that tiny experience as a photographer, but the other experience working in F&B, it's not going to be valid. It's not going to be suitable for the job field that you're trying to apply.
Yeah.
It's just,
For the information of the audience,
feels-
the F&B we are referring here is film and broadcast, not food and beverages, okay? It's film and broadcast. Okay. All right.
yeah, and it's just so hard that some people, like, not some people, I mean, like, some agencies, they just expect students to have, or fresh graduates to have these experiences. I'm not saying we're not able to, we are. But to put that in a job that is entry level just feels a little unfair.
Yeah.
It is very unfair because how are people going to have experience? Like, they're just going to say, oh, go find experience. Where? If I cannot even find experience in an entry level job,
Yep.
then where? I feel like it's like the job market is like, you have to unlock that level, unlock that level of, like, you have to do so much without getting paid sometimes. Or, like, you have to do so much, sacrifice so much just to enter that entry level job.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, you have all this experience, you can be like normal level job. No, only entry level job. It's very much broken because, again, as a fresh graduate, you want a decent salary where you can at least very much, like, survive with a little bit of leeway to save your money. Because obviously as fresh graduates, you want to save up money. You also want a work-life balance and a job that hopefully does not eat their soul. And then employers, on the other hand, they want experience, they want results, and they want performance, and sometimes superpowers. Sorry. but but work commitment for fresh graduates, right? They are heavier, they have higher expectations, tighter deadlines, and the shadow rule or unspoken rule that you must prove yourself
To stay.
But yeah, you must prove yourself to stay. But then again, if I'm not saying, like, oh, that mindset should not be instilled in people. Yeah, I get it. You want people to work hard, but also don't put so high of expectation to fresh graduates. They are basically learning. They are like babies. Like, you remember back then when you just got a job, like, you are struggling to. I dislike the fact that some people, like, I saw this on threads. I'm so obsessed with threads lately. Like, this, job, I think it's HR or something. They were like, oh, fresh graduates, you want high salary, but you can't even do, you always complaining about work and life balance. Like, for me, you shouldn't be making fun of Gen Z who wants work and life balance, because that is something so normal to ask for.
Yeah.
It become not normal nowadays because people are normalize not having that.
Yeah, because like you said just now, the working system is broken because I'm not saying that the former generations are not good. It's just because that they prioritize so much on work because they want survival, right? Back then, survival is hard, harder than now, I can say, so that they prioritize work so much. But now the time has changed, and now people prioritize their own inner peace more than some other stuff. Like we crave a balance right now. I think it's because that we can see the society is already like so dense. It is already so dense,
Yes.
so full that we basically couldn't do much to change whatever there is. Because like back when like for the generation who were born in the 70s, 80s, or even the 60s, it might be easier for them to create opportunities as long as they have higher qualifications than their peers. Because back then education is a privilege. So they have lesser competition to create opportunities. So that's why they could build businesses that is big like until today, that sustain to today. But imagine that
Yeah.
we are having the age of 20. I would like to have them put themselves into our shoes. What if they are us just 20 something going out there, we're dreaming of creating our own opportunities, but you go out there, everybody just monopolying the industry, and then you were just out there. How do you survive in all those monopolies, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we have to work our way from the bottom of the pyramid. Well, back then they created the pyramid. They basically like created a city from a desert, and we have to create something from this established city. So it's like the circumstances are different, and I don't think the former generations should make fun of Gen Z or something, because like every generation has their own challenges, and you shouldn't
Exactly.
like just say something like, hey, back in our times, like back in your times are already at the back. Just look in the front, please.
Yeah. I hear when like older generations like, I saw this one. Let me translate it from Malay, right? It's like back then when I was working, I didn't even care about work and life balance. All I do is work just to get money. Generations nowadays complain about not getting enough money, but don't even want to work a little bit longer than usual.
Give OT lah.
That's what was said. And I'm like, huh?
Give OT lah. Work longer than usual. You
Exactly. No, here's the thing. My reaction to that was, okay, do you want a cookie? Like you worked hard. Like you put yourself there. You didn't complain. That's your fault.
Yeah.
We are telling you, like, one thing I kind of respect about our generation, Gen Zs, is we're not afraid to make a change.
Yeah.
And I believe that's because growing up, so much has already been put on us, like the inflation, the COVID. We've seen like how society can just, go so broken in a blink of an eye.
Yep.
Right? So we appreciate that life even more.
Yeah.
And we don't see jobs as like job equals to life. We don't see that. We see life as life, job as job, where we need job to help us sustain our life in terms of like pay and all that. But we still want to live. Back then, you can work and own a house.
Yeah.
Now, people work the same hours, but we cannot even afford a house because of how broken the economy is.
Yeah.
The change is so big that people don't realize that. People say, oh, Gen Zs are complaining, Gen Zs are complaining. How about you work that as much as we are right now and feel like you're going nowhere because the amount of pay that you have, though people say, oh, back then I only had 2.5K as my pay. Now you have 3.5K. Your 2.5K allows you to save up, allows you to use for your leisure as well as your needs. 3.5K today is barely surviving.
Yeah. I mean, like, inflation economy should have made as a basic education subject. Like, people need the basic knowledge about inflation. Like, inflation, like, prices are going up, but is the salary going up? No.
The salary is not going, like, let's say the prices are going like super high, like 5 levels of high. The salary is like just to level 3. Level 3.5.
Yeah.
It's not competitive at all with the cost of living.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe when I was a kid, I heard that the minimum basic salary is like 1.2K, and now at 1.7K. Seriously, I'm an adult.
1.7K. The increase is just few hundred, right? But people think 100, like, let's just like use that, that one picture that we always see in social media. Back then, 100, you can get a full trolley of food.
Yeah.
Nowadays, 100 is 2 items or 4 items.
Yeah.
So you don't get to say, oh, this generation could play so much. You're getting so much. You're getting so easy. We don't. We are not. You might see us getting it as easy because there are some stuff that you were struggling with back then. We are not struggling with now. But there are things that you were not struggling back then that we are struggling now.
Yeah.
with. So I just feel like as fresh graduates, you have your own expectation. Job market has their own expectation. And though I don't want to blame on all companies out there are still some companies that are very behind, especially mindset wise. They think that fresh graduates don't deserve what Malays would call gaji bermarwah.
Wow. Shit.
Gaji bermarwah, yeah. Yeah, but Malays would call gaji bermarwah. They think fresh graduates want a lot of pay but cannot do a lot of jobs. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter about the workload. It matters about the value of money, the money power, the purchasing power.
Yep.
Like you cannot say like, oh, back then you do the same job and you got paid 2.5K. Okay lah, with 2.5K, what can you buy? Use that same mindset. Nowadays, a person can, work the same job and have, higher pay. Does that mean they deserve more workload? No. Why they have more money? Why did they get paid more? Because the purchasing power. Yeah, because the inflation, the economy out there is just bad. And whose fault is that? The generation.
Yeah.
It's not like we're blaming everything on the older generation. We're not. We're really not. Like, because it's it's already happening. There's no point in blaming anyone, right? But you don't get to blame or put this label on new graduates, new generation as lazy, unmotivated.
Yeah. Because when I was a kid, I saw those millennials being blamed by the Gen Y and Gen Y being blamed by Gen X. It's like the cycle. Every generation blames its next generation, right? So I get that it's a cycle that is normalized, but I think this cycle is unnecessary because just like what we said just now, every generation has their own struggles, has their own privileges, right? So it's just that we shouldn't label Gen Z as like Gen Z, they're lazy, they just know how to complain, they don't know how to do job, they're just kids. Like back in those days, like millennials are labeled like, oh, they're like strawberries, they're like they couldn't take much responsibilities and stuff. I don't think we should label people because like there are a few a minor group of those people that is bad. I get it. Every generation has this minor group of people, of course, including Gen Z. I don't think because of that we are labeling the majority. The majority are just people who are putting effort to make their day better. Even in Gen Z, like this generation is start to be like having more privilege in life, more privilege in like economic wise. But there are still many Gen Z who are struggling financially. Even in universities, there are still Gen Z people who starve themselves just to save up some money. There are still people who couldn't afford the bread, but they still try to survive in university. They still try to work that own way out. I mean, like every generation is the same. Basically, it's just what's the difference? It's just that we live in different times and times are changing.
Yep.
We should embrace the change and dump some of those, backwards mindset away and just live in peace.
That is true. But one thing I must say is like the world is going fast now.
Yeah.
The world is going so fast. The change that's happening, the AI growth is crazy. We have to keep up with that. And like, let's say, it's just like how to say, by the time you finish learning a course, right? Half of the tools that you learn is already outdated. There's new stuff. Sometimes structures are not caught up to that. And it's very, very hard for you to move up because the structure is already like blocking you. Yeah. So for me, I would say one thing that is good about the new generation, since Gen Z is getting a lot of hate, is one, though we are fresh graduates, though we are very teeny weeny, tiny in this world, little babies, one thing about Gen Z is we learn fast. We adapt fast. Because if we're not adapting, we're not surviving right now.
Yes.
And we create opportunities where it didn't exist back then, side gigs, freelance work, online businesses, influencers,
Yes.
content creation. So we are rewriting the rules that were set. So if you see Gen Z saying something about work-life balance, if you see Gen Z talking about this and that, instead of trying to just boom, Gen Z is lazy, boom, Gen Z is unmotivated. Look into it. Look into the system that you were living in. Look in the system that you were molded in and think to yourself back then I work almost 6 days a week. And I didn't have much time to spend with my family. And maybe this generation is kind of correct. You need to have that work-life balance. Like my previous headmaster, my principal in my school would say, in Malay, he say, betul kan yang biasa, biasa kan yang betul. So correct what is normal, normalize what is correct. So I really love that. And that mindset is something that changed me in a sense of though people say oh, this is normal. But if I think that is wrong, people have normalized something that is wrong, it's still wrong. Just because it's normal, it doesn't change a fact.
Yeah.
So I would say to kind of slowly, again, wrap this up. If you're a fresh grad, build a portfolio, try your best to find new skills. Because at the end of the day, Gen Zs are strong. We are still babies. It's not like all agencies are bad. There are still some, I would say myself included, I've seen a lot of companies actually realizing that, hey, we need to start and set a new standard. It's very beneficial that we have those kind of people. So let's be those kind of people and set a new standard, especially for ourselves, build ourselves up. So we know when we are at their place, we know one is to accept new people's opinion. We need to accept the fact that we should not hate on the new generation. They are struggling as well, and play the long game. Your first job isn't going to be a forever job. So make sure to power through and don't compare your timeline with someone else's highlights. The job market is tough, but you are a fresh graduate. You've gotten this far.
Yep.
Job market should stop you. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think we have fought our way through studying, right? Just think back then, the generation before us who had the strength to go through studying until you graduate from university. Not much, right, compared to us. So if we fought the journey that they didn't fight, that means we could also fight another journey that is different from theirs, which is in the job market. And just like what Farah said just now, there is a change in the job market. It is still small because we are all just starting, right? So let's be a part of the change and make the change better. There's a quote that I like. It's from the internet. It says that never be the kind of adult that you used to hate. And I like that.
Oh, I really like that. Never be the kind of adult that you used to hate.
So yeah.
That's actually very, very good.
Yeah. So let's work towards that.
Yeah, we should. And, good luck to all fresh graduates out there. Good luck to all Gen Zs that are already in the job market. Persevere through. One day you'll be your own CEO. Don't worry about it. Yeah, good luck to all of us. And hopefully we can mend what is broken and work towards a better system. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you again, Jai, for being in today's episode for Unfiltered by 2. See you again.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Unfiltered by 2. No edits, no filters, just us. If you're into real talk with zero sugarcoating, hit that follow, like, and share with your friends. We'll see you soon for more unfiltered energy.